Eddie Martin here, home of the hustle. It's Tuesday night. You know what we do on Tuesday nights. On Tuesday nights, I bring you people that are within your own network. People that you may be connected with, people that you may know, that you may not know. And we bring them on here and we pick their brain and we introduce them to you guys. So I'm giving this thing a couple seconds because my man Jay Doran's going to be popping in here. What's up, Terry? So as soon as I see Jay hop in, I'm going to add him in. Get you guys a quick little rundown. If you're not familiar with Home of the Hustle, first of all, I'm going to politely ask you to share this out so we can get a lot of people in here and support Jay and support what he's doing, because the message that he's going to bring tonight is going to be of very, very great value to you, to your company, to everything that you guys have going on. What's up, Leslie? So, Home of the Hustle, Mr. Monday Night, Jason Daniels. Tuesdays is with me, Eddie Martin. Wednesdays, Frank Sell Jr. I don't know. Frank's like the 7th Frank Sell on the planet. He's got a lot of accountability in his name. The Law, Loris Thompson on Thursdays. Justin Myers, the Science Chef, on Fridays. Also known as the Cookie Monster. Andrew, what's up, dude? And Savage Saturdays on Saturday with Savage Grind, Daniel Joseph. His premiere show should be this Saturday, so keep an eye out for that. I'm going to give this thing a couple seconds, get Jay in here. So, Jay, when you pop in, if you're in and I'm not seeing you, please leave a comment so I know you're here. Shows me with 6. Let's see if it likes me or not, if it wants to show me who's in here. I met Jay down at GrowthCon a couple months ago. Probably been like 90 days now. 10X GrowthCon, the seminar thrown by Grant Cardone in Miami or Hollywood, Florida, whatever that is. And I met Jay. We had already been connected on Facebook, but just like another one of those relationships that you meet somebody in person and you hit it off like that. So Jay and I hit it off really quick. So, I wanted to bring Jay on here because if, he resonates with me, he probably resonates with you. The Titans making an appearance, sharing this bad boy out. We got 4 people in here right now. Hopefully everybody has shared. Wondering where my man Jay is. Maybe he's having some technical issues with the Facebook today. You see that background? Looks pretty good, huh? Hey, if anybody's like graphic design people and they want to be nice and make me a Home of the Hustle background that we can throw up on there for me, that's just something I did on Canva so that we had something to show. Send it my way. I'll give you a shout out, give you all the credit for making it and whatnot. Hope you guys caught that show yesterday with Jason Daniels and Coach Michael Burt. That was huge. Huge amount of value in that show, and I recommend that you guys go back to yesterday after this is over and check that out. What's up, Savage? Savage in the building. He's going to be launching, I think, like I said, on Saturday. Savage Saturday should be launching. Stay tuned for confirmation on that and the time that he's going to be going on. I have a feeling my man Jay is in here, and I'm not seeing him. What's up, Hendrix? Nope, no Jay just yet. He's probably closing a deal. What's up, Joshua? Appreciate the shares. Appreciate you guys jumping in here. Erica, how you doing? Getting fancy, Kyle Hendricks. Getting super fancy. You know what's even fancier about that? Is it's backwards. Like it's backwards on the screen, but it looks forwards to you guys. Right? Like this is my right hand. No, it's my left hand. So we're just giving this thing a second for Jay to hop in here. Jay owns a company called Culture Matters, where he teaches CEOs. I don't want to get too much into what Jay has going on, but we definitely got to kill a little bit of time before he gets in here. So Jay teaches CEOs about the power of culture. and what that means and what that matters or why that matters. And I'll let him define that when he comes in here. But he teaches CEOs what culture is, why it's important to implement culture. Yeah, Mr. Monday Night needs a background. You're going to have to move to Vegas to get this one. But it's all you. But yeah, so he teaches people, CEOs, businesses, the power of culture. Jason Daniels knows very well what having intentional culture and breeding that proper culture into your business, what the effect that it can have on your business. So that's what Jay's going to be talking about a little bit tonight. Waiting on him. You know what I'm going to do is let's do, while we're waiting on Jay, Savage Grind, if you're available, and invite you in, since you haven't been on yet, to Home of the Hustle, and your show's going to premiere. Let's do a little preview while we wait for Jay. Hopefully you can accept that invite. If you can't, just comment, say, I'm busy, I'm in the car, I got something going on, I can't grab it. Otherwise, the invite is sent your way. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions, about, Home of the Hustle, any questions for me specifically, let's get some value coming at you guys while we hang tight and wait for Jay. I'd say I'll message him, but if I hit that button, it's over. If somebody knows Jay, hit him with a message and tell him to hop up in here. Invite again, okay. Where'd you go? There you go. All right, invite sent. Your middle name is Hustle. Man, apparently my middle name is a bad word, like a cuss word. What's up, ETE? Hey, Savage, that thing is hitting you with the invite. Hope you're getting that. Maybe it's an issue on my end. So let's roll through here and see if we got some comments or questions. I got to get this thing set up where I got another phone or something. So Melissa, what this is a show that we do Monday through Friday for our network in order to bring value to people. Yo, what's up?
Look where I'm at.
Where you at? Oh, you at the bookstore.
Business.
In the business section. I love it. Melissa was just asking
let me go up there where I won't look like a crazy man.
Yeah, everybody's all trying to be
How
quiet
you guys doing?
and savage. Yeah, go find yourself a little corner here for a second. But yeah, so what this is a show that we do Monday through Fridays, Home of the Hustle, where we reach up, we reach out, we bring the community together. We ask the questions that people probably want to know to the people who they probably want to ask the questions to, so that you can grow yourself, you can grow your business, you can grow your personal life, your family life, your physical life, whatever that may be. That's our goal and what we're trying to do here on Home of the Hustle. This here is Daniel Joseph, Savage Grind, Ryan Perez in the house, Hustle Zone. What's up, brother? So you got shopping for books, man?
You know that, man. You know that.
All right, man. Hey, Jay hopped in, dude. He just hopped in, dude. I appreciate you. Say hi to the people. Let them know Savage is coming.
Savage Saturday. Don't forget, tune in. We'll figure out the time, and we're going to get at you. Nothing but value, baby. I love y'all.
Absolutely. Peace, brother. I'll call you later.
All right, boss.
Later. All right, now I'm going to invite Jay up in here. There he goes. Invite to the broadcast. You got an invite coming your way, Jay. Apologize for the mix-up and the confusion here. But yeah, so the goal, like what I do here on Tuesdays, is my objective is to bring people into the network.
You see me?
Already in your network. What's up, brother? And
hey, what's up?
Jay DORAN in here. What's up, dude?
Yo, so you got to be in the right home. I was I was in the wrong place.
No.
I'm like looking on your page and stuff, trying to figure it out. Yeah. So I just
You're all good,
expanded
brother.
my right. Can you see me good? I never
Yeah,
did
I
this
can see you
before.
good. I hear you
Okay.
good.
Do I look good?
Oh, you look great, dude. I'm
I
surprised
feel
you don't
good.
have like a shiny suit on, that looks like it's texturized.
Well, I usually wear velvet even if it's 100 degrees. I'm doing they call this the Dan Pena. You know.
Fantastic.
All right, so let's do it.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Here we are. I'm glad you made it. So if folks don't know you, which, you and I were connected prior to GrowthCon on Facebook, but when we met at GrowthCon, it was like, boom, like instant connection. And we hit it off. And so, we've stayed connected since then. You got a lot of stuff going on. I know that you're pressing and getting your business pushed out there and going into the next level. So why don't you tell the folks on here that don't know you, who you are, what you do, and then we'll kind of break down and go, where your background is and where you come from, and we'll just go from there.
Wow, yeah, sure. So, okay, so I don't know if anyone's ever read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Well, basically, my life story is poor mom, rich uncle. I grew up in literally the basement of a big mansion. And I witnessed my mom, who adopted me when she was 50, work really hard, but not that smart, at least the way I viewed that. And upstairs in that big house was my uncle, who, in my viewpoint, worked really hard and smart. He was an entrepreneur. He was in real estate. He owned properties. And growing up, I basically resented my mom and wanted to be my uncle. And the reason I share that with everyone here is because, aren't we a product? Our culture is what? Our belief systems and the things that we do. And a lot of that has to do with what happens when we're young. So part of, being self-aware and knowing who you are is where you come from. So growing up, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And went from school to school growing up, never quite became that employee type mindset like you learn in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And after getting kicked out of a couple high schools, I ended up starting my first business in New York, which was selling personal training for myself within a business that had been doing it and kind of failing. So I don't know how familiar you are with personal training packages, but I'll give you an example. You know how Grant Cardone has the Grant Cardone training and you pay monthly for it?
Yeah.
Basically the way...
Speed,
what's up, brother?
I said it's on light speed, baby.
Exactly. So I guess we figure out a way to make personal training sales on light speed. So normally personal training, you buy packages, 12 sessions, 24 sessions, 48 sessions. And I worked on a system to actually get all of the training clients to see the value in training on a monthly electronic funds transfer. So we sold packages like once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. And I learned that in a company for a very short period of time, in a corporate company, ended up investing my money with the owner of a gym that I worked out of. Lo and behold, he stole all my money. I was fired from the job, and that's when I ended up in New York City. And basically, when I was in New York City, I got the opportunity to work in this gym that was trying to sell those personal training packages, just up front, $100 an hour, 12 sessions, 24 sessions, 48 sessions. And I saw an opportunity. And that opportunity was, what if I can pigeon myself between this gym to actually bring in clients, right, which I didn't know at the time what that was, marketing, convert them to pay monthly, which I didn't know that either at the time. That's sales, right? And built this ginormous EFT from 0 to like 60,000 in like 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Got a piece of the business. Yeah, it was in Tribeca, New York, so it was in a good place to be. And I took the time to train specific, because all of the training clients I leveraged out to other trainers, obviously, right? So I didn't work in it, I worked on the business. But specific people I did train, and the reason I did train them was because I wanted to learn from them. Just like I learned from my uncle who lived upstairs, watching what he did, right? Law of the picture. People watch what you do. And these people were very, very, very powerful people. And the whole time that I trained them, I just asked them questions and listened to understand, not to reply. Mm-hmm. Well, lo and behold, I ended up seeing that gym, at the end of the day, it wasn't my entity, and there was only so much I could do, and that the owners were the same people that we're going to be the same people regardless, and that I couldn't control what their actions, right? So I saw it coming that was kind of going to go downhill. I said, well, what's my next step? Someone actually propositioned me, who at the time was a big mentor in my life. He had an idea to start the first $5 gym. It was like a Walmart concept where, where's the milk? The milk's in the back, right? The milk's in the back. So he said, what if we could have everything under one roof, the clothes, the food, and so on and so forth, and we would actually be able to convert a certain amount of the members to be able to help them with personal training at a monthly EFT. So we'll charge $5 a month, and I call it give them what they want, help them buy what they need, and we'll convert a certain percentage, and then we'll end up being more profitable, right?
Yeah.
Well, he had this idea. So one day, basically, it was August 15th, 2014. It was not even that long ago, actually. I decided to pack all my books and my clothes and my Mustang and drive 100 miles from Queens, New York, to random, I don't even know the town. It was like a random town in Pennsylvania. I don't even remember. At this time, I didn't have a ton of money. I had paid off all my debt. I basically had a couple grand, a couple credit cards. And he found me a Craigslist ad like to live in a little room. It was a room, like a Vietnamese man owned the house and his daughter. I remember I had a girlfriend. She was about 15 years my senior, super hot. And I had left her. Like, she was pissed at me. She's texting me, call me. I can't believe you left. I was like, I got to do this business. And it was August, September, October. By October, we found a gym. It was a failed Club Metro in New Britain, Pennsylvania, with no members, just equipment, and 10,000 square feet. And it's a Class C gym location, meaning if you're in real estate investment, it's like a tertiary market, 3 cities out. Yeah. This is like that, where the funnel isn't that large. Like, it's not an ideal location, right? Like Planet Fitness wouldn't park themselves there. But what we were able to do was convince a publicly traded company, a REIT, to give us the opportunity to actually move in there on a 10-year lease and pick us over the Y. My mentor was a good conversationalist, right? Now we had to find the money to actually move in because we didn't have any money. We just had my credit cards, actually. American Express was our business partner in the Bank of America. So we needed $50K, right? We needed 40 grand down and some extra. So I raised the money. We moved in with 3 sleeping bags, me, my partner, and his brother. And within 3 months, we had over 2,000 members, 500,000 top line revenue, and all of my now I got 30 employees, almost 20 something. Mostly personal trainings. Remember, or personal trainers, they got paid as a period cost. So if you understand accounting, they only got paid per session. But we had such a funnel of clientele, right? Hundreds of training clients that they had tons of sessions. So everybody's happy. Everybody's making money. Well, now, obviously, when you start a business, all the money's going to the business, right, if you're doing it right. So it's not like I was rich at that point. I was still, living on ramen noodles, waking up, living in the gym, waking up before the members got there at before 5 a.m. and going to bed when the gym closed, burnout. And where I go when I'm stressed out, I go to Barnes & Noble. So some people, go to do drugs or drink. I go to the books. I go to the books. So I'm in Barnes & Noble, and I'm walking, and I see this book pop out. It was like blue and white. And it said, uncontainable. I was like, that was cool. Sorry, I've been working out, and I gained like 10 pounds. My suit, I feel like I'm going to rip. My arm's getting heavier. All right, so I'm walking over to them, and I see this book, and I'm like, oh, it looks interesting. So I pick it up, and I'm like, oh, it's $30. I'm like, I don't have any cash. So I use a credit card. I bought it. I read like the first intro, and I knew I had to read it. Why? If anyone's ever heard of the Container Store here, you know that they just sell containers. Eddie, have you ever heard of the Container Store?
I have not.
Okay. They sell containers, and in 1978, the owner and his partner and his wife raised about 35 grand, and they said, we want to help people get more organized, so we're going to sell containers. So it's a store where you can buy 10,000 containers. Okay. Well, he wrote this book that attributes their massive success, and I'll explain what that looks like in a second, to 7 cultural principles, right? Like instead of the 10 commandments, he had 7 principles. And I'm reading this book, and I'm saying, wait a second, this is crazy. They have 1/10 of the turnover of any other retailer. They're publicly traded as of 2014. 1/10 of the turnover. So, you know, in retail, you go to McDonald's, it's like 1,000% turnover. You go to any retail. I coach a lot of real estate companies now. It's 9 out of 10 turnover. The average agent quits within 18 months, all of them. So I'm reading this book, and he said they have 1/10 of turnover. The average associate gets paid 50% more than any other retailer in the country. And 90% of the employees are previous customers. So I'm like, what? This is insane. Sound like containers. So it inspired me and said, remember, you start a business. My passion, my partner's passion is it was the glue that brought everything together. It was our meetings every day from 12 to 1, you know, like Facebook, how they live together, right? You read all these books now, and how they started the companies. They all lived together. They were hustling. Well, eventually when they start growing, that stops, right? The family now, you got your kids, they live in California. If you don't talk to them every day, you start losing touch with your children. Same concept. So I'm reading this book. I said, why don't we have our principles? Why don't we have what do we truly stand for? How do I take my character, which is my beliefs, my thoughts, my actions, the results I get, the convictions I have, who I am, and scale that? And I said, I need to write this down first. So I did. I didn't sleep that night. I wrote it down. And the next day I came up with these 10 philosophies. And at our meeting, because we met with our people, we had this habit of every day from 12 to 1, we had meetings where we would pour into them. Right? That's how we took our salespeople and got them to do a 7. Now, 87% of people that sat in front of myself bought personal training for a year, first month down, last month down. 93% my mentor. 70% our managers. Why? Because we invested in our people, and our people came back. That's the culture we created, the systems that they knew what to do, just like you know what to do. So I'm reading this book. I write them down. I share them with my guys. You know, I just read this book. You know, in my head, it's amazing. I'm all excited. And half the guys are like, Jay, shut up. Like, what is this?
Knock it off, dude.
They're like, why do we need to know this? You know, there's always that one guy that's really bad. Yeah, like, why am I here? You get paid, but no. So I didn't know this till after I, invested in learning about neurology and how the mind works and leadership. But instead of pushing him, like John Maxwell says, don't push a string, pull it. I said, I hear you. You know, like Grant teaches, agree. I hear what you're saying. I get that, and I appreciate you, and I let that go. And then the way that I got my people to buy into the belief systems that I had was 2 things. One, I told the story that I just told you guys, which if I did it right at all, maybe someone on here says, maybe culture does matter. If the Container Store was able to do what they've done, and Jay isn't lying. And I told the story, and eventually, and it's actually a short period of time, within a couple weeks, I'll give you an example. The first philosophy was the first 3 steps. When the customer, this was the context. So the first 3 steps was the title. It was like the thou shall not kill, right? That's the title. That's the statement. Now, that doesn't mean anything. The first 3 steps doesn't mean anything, though, in alignment with my vision until I put into context. So then I put into context, and it meant when a customer walks through the door, they get greeted with a warm, hearty hello. The experience starts at the door, it continues throughout, and it ends with a goodbye. And I drew that analogy between that belief system and how those guys needed to act, because they were all invested in the company. They want to be as big as a Container Store. That's why they were there. And after a couple of weeks, could you imagine going to a gym and getting greeted like 17 times?
Yeah, no.
Instead of someone texting on their phone, you get greeted, and you don't just get greeted, you get greeted by your name. So now, and the 6th philosophy was the more you learn, the more you earn, which is not just fiscally, but spiritually. And that's how I inspired people, my guys, my girls, my people, to read. The trainers at that gym were more educated than anyone. I mean, we had the janitor listening to audiobooks. So this is what happened. A couple months into that, it's right after New Year's, like 2015. I'm laying in bed. At this point, we're renting a big house. It was like 10,000 square feet, and each one of us had a room. It was like some serious Facebook stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm laying in bed, and I said to myself, I can't do this. There has to be a way that every company, right? I felt like I figured something out. That light bulb goes off when you make a decision. And initially, my agreement with my mentor was really that I was just going to get into the gyms to help him get it going. Like, I had a lot of contacts. I was obviously in the fitness industry forever, but I didn't want to be that fitness guy anymore. I wanted to be the suit guy. I wanted to be my uncle. I got real side story. I got pulled into fitness because I was a really fat kid that didn't want to be fat anymore. And then everyone started asking me about how'd you get in shape. And before you know it, that's all I did for freaking 13 years. So one night I'm laying in bed and I said, I gotta do something about this. So I basically told him what my plans were, that culture mattered. And we didn't see eye to eye on that.
Really?
So I left. At the time, I left. I left with nothing at the time. I moved 13 times in 11 months. I refused to get a job. People that I know, friends, there's like, you're a loser, da-da-da. Like, I looked like an idiot. I sold one of my cars. I lived on the cash. I lived on credit card. I did whatever it took. And I studied for my next step logically was, let me get into real estate. Let me learn how to make hot calls. I call them hot calls. I don't know what a cold call is. When I call you, it's hot. It's hot. I want to take it off. Like,
you're on the phone, man. It's hot.
Well, so this is the thing. I wasn't hot on the phone, and I knew I had to get good at it because in the gym business, you didn't have to make the calls because you were shooting at flies with a sniper rifle. All your prospects are right there in the gym. It was like shooting at flies. So I said, if I'm going to do this message of Culture Matters, I need to really get I need to learn more and put this into context for the world. 2, I need to become stronger as a person, my culture, my character. I need to be able to make hot calls. I need to get my confidence up in that. So I want to get into real estate hardcore, like my uncle. So I'm going to get into real estate. So I read 237 books on real estate. Everything you can imagine. Every waking moment. I'm already obsessive with that stuff. I mean, shout out to Grant Cardone. In 2013, the 10X rule was the reason I started like really, really, really reading. And when I read something, I don't forget it. So for me, it is an investment. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
So I read that, everything you can imagine on real estate sales. And what I learned later in neuroscience is the frontal lobe is your logic, your instincts and your reptile brain, and your limbic system, your emotion. Well, I knew what to do at that point, but you still got to build the muscle, and it's called your cerebellum. That's why, like, basketball players are good at basketball. Repetition's the mother of skill.
Yeah.
So it took me about less than 90 days, but I finally got really into that groove on the phone, and I sold more deals than the average agent does in 18 months and realized I really hated everything about real estate sales except for the phone. So I turned that to a program. I started teaching people how to make hot calls and inevitably worked things out with my partner, got at that, totally did well. And he's doing his thing. We're friends. We're cool. And now I'm doing this book on Culture Matters. It'll be out in a couple months. And I'm basically, Culture Matters, I got the YouTube channel. I'm putting out content. I haven't quantified it. You can't buy my program yet. But what I've learned a lot, and I've realized that there's an accountability thing, that if you don't have something for people, you're not going to be able to help people, if that makes sense, right? Absolutely. So this keeps me up at night. And my personal vision statement is I want to live in a world where, and this ties into what I'm about to go into, I want to live in a world where no matter your race, ethnicity, geographic origin, one thing matters, and that's Team Human, Human. Mm-hmm. And in context, it stands for something. So I figured if I can help companies develop their vision, their mission, and the how, not just the why, the how with the culture, to do what I did, then that's a great way to take conscious capitalism and this internet right here and get the word out that the whole world could be a better place because culture matters. And culture is why we hate each other. because of the lack of understanding of the culture.
Yeah, it's a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding, that divides people, and that is culture.
So let's just go to like facts for a second. Richard Koch has the number 2 private company in all of America. They're MGM. It's like a holding company like Berkshire, and he's very culture. He's all about it. He doesn't talk enough, the guy. He should be more on YouTube. And he wrote a book recently called Good Profit. And in that book, now this is a $100 billion company, by the way, private. It's not public. Yeah, it's like a Berkshire Hathaway type company.
Yeah.
And he talks about Good Profit. He says in 1917, Fortune did a study, the top 100 companies that were doing the best. 96 years later, they polled those companies again. Guess how many, if anyone wants to guess, how many of those companies were still on the list?
Out of 100, you said?
100 companies, 96 years later, how many were still top 100?
Let's figure this out. Let's get comments in here. So
let's do
out
it.
of those 100 companies, all those years later, how many were left? By the way, if you're getting value out of what Jay's bringing, about the fire that he's dropping on you guys right now in his story, be sure to share this out, because there's somebody out there that doesn't know this is going on right now, that doesn't know Jay and needs this information. So how many do you think? I got Adam.
We got 8.
He's the only one that's answered. Who else has an answer? None.
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 I actually like these answers. It says a lot for our culture and
it really does.
how we view it, right?
Yeah. Expectations.
All right, well, let's.
Minimal.
So you ready?
Let's do it.
Out of 100, 13 are in existence. So 87 are gone. 7 are still on the list. Do you realize in 96 years, that's like Usain Bolt winning the gold medal yesterday running, and the next day he's fat.
Yeah.
It's a short period of time.
Yeah.
So they say most businesses fail?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wrong. Every business that has ever started has failed. Because let's look at the definition of a business. This is why culture ties into business development. Because there's no business development, there's no people. And people are thoughts and actions and habits and beliefs and convictions. And convictions create things. A business is someone's vision. Brad Lee had a vision of a solution to a problem. That in the information age, the attention was going to be online. And that his customers had to be able to quantify that attention, correct?
Correct.
So they could double down and use the Pareto principle to get more results, because we can't monitor what happens on that billboard. We don't know. We know that people text and drive and people are on Google Maps and they're probably not looking at the billboard. We can't quantify that, but they can quantify you. All that sales stuff comes after this, though. Brad had a vision of a solution to a problem, and that's what a business is. So if every business has failed, it just goes to show that the vision of the businesses aren't clear. And we talk about this fluff, right? I got to stand. My arm is killing me. I think I got to stop working out. Culture. Woo! So can you see me? I don't want to.
Yeah, no. We can see you just fine. We hear you good. You're all good.
The vision, the mission, and the culture, those are like, you got a tripod, you got 3 legs. Different. The vision is the visual representation of what you want in your personal life, or what the owner of the company wants in his business. It's a visual representation. The mission is the what. It's like think of like vision as the belief. The mission is like the how-to. Mm-hmm. It's the goal, right? So, for example, I want to live in a world where this is my vision. I want to live in a world for culture matters, right? Not my personal vision statement, my cultural vision statement. I want to live in a world where every CEO, every Brad of the world, every Grant Cardone in the world, they know why they're in business. And they also know how to transcribe that clearly and concisely so their people can produce purposely. The mission is, I have to do this every single day, film 100 YouTube videos a month, talk to everyone I ever meet, inspire people to inspire others, and that goal will be achieved. That would be a mission. The culture, my culture, the C stands for culture, like if you were to spell it out, C stands for collaboration. Give first, expect nothing. That's the context. That's who I am. The U stands for unique. Education's finding the answer within. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but each letter is a word in context. Why is the context important? Because if you look up the definition for the word collaboration in Google, there's two definitions. One's negative and one's positive. So if you, for example, if your cultural value, this is some stuff people can use right now. If your cultural value for your company is passion, the hell does that mean? That means different to everybody. If you want alignment, passion means we're passionate about the information age's impact on our clients' needs and wants. Therefore, we must call 100 people a day at light speed. Right? Yeah. We're passionate about what we do to solve problems. Therefore, we have to be at the light speed of the sun. That would be context.
Yeah.
So the vision is the visual goal. The mission is the what. The how is what Simon Sinek forgot to put in his book. And that's this. First, you got to figure out, like the leadership, if the owner's dead, the founder's dead, they got to figure out what problem are they solving? Because that's the vision. The mission is how to do it or what they're doing. And the culture is the character of their people. How do they want them to act in context? So once you figure out the why, then you can write that down. You've got to transcribe it because I never know. I wouldn't go to a church where they didn't write down the 10 Commandments and they didn't give you a Bible. I mean, what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to follow that? How's a priest supposed to grow it? So you got to figure out what it is.
Touch and look and read and reference back to and move forward with.
You got to write it down. And then this is the key, though. You got to talk about it every day. And everything that happens or is going to happen, every goal, every meeting, you got to say, all right, well, for example, Keller Williams' first cultural philosophy is win-win or no deal. So when I'm working with agents to help them make the hot calls, I ask them, if the statistics say that only 8% of people that sell their home themselves actually sell, which is true, first sale by owners, 8% that try to sell on their own, only 8% sell. Wow. So out of all the people. That's a fact. So that's logic. But humans aren't motivated by logic. We know we're inspired by emotion, and we justify, right? So I got to tie that cultural value that Gary Keller said in 1978, win-win or no deal. If you know that the first sale by owner is not going to sell on their own, and they're actually, if they do sell, it's 25% less on average, and you don't call them, how is that a win-win or no deal for your potential customer?
Yeah, total disservice.
You got to tie the culture with the action. So I want you to, everybody could, this equation could change your life. Most businesses think that things aren't working out, so we need more systems, right? Oh, yeah. It's the systems. There's systems.
Yeah.
Okay. Try telling your girlfriend you need more systems in your relationship.
Yeah,
people don't want to be managed.
Systems plus systems is a linear failure. That's why every business has failed. That's the correlation. Systems times culture equals exponential growth. Every time, think of it like bricks and mortar. Every brick is a system. Every mortar is the foundation. So it's the why, the what, and the how. The cultural value ties into the systems. And when you do them together, you have an exponential growth. Great example of this is a guy that a lot of people don't like because they don't know the story of how Jordan Belfort legitimately, because his communication training was legitimate.
Oh, yeah, straight line systems, legit.
Yeah, in 3 years. Did you lose me?
Nah, I can hear you. You just went sideways, okay. Though.
My Bluetooth.
There you go.
Jordan Belfort, in like three or 4 years, took him and his partner, Donnie Azoff, and went to over 1,000 young guys, helping, well, getting people to invest money with them through a system of communication, the straight line, and his cultural attitude, his view of how the phone worked.
Yeah.
As soon as he jumped out of his business, though, when he broke a deal with the feds, what happened to Stratton Oakmont? It went down.
Yeah.
And you see it time and time again, whether it's a company like that or whether it's a company like Walmart, where if you read Made in America by Sam Walton, he literally wrote his 10 core values, his 10 commandments down in the back of the book in the last chapter. And yet, what happened? They don't talk about it.
Yeah, went away.
Now, if you, like, in the 80s, Walmart was actually a really, 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 really popular company. Later, when every company started outsourcing stuff, yeah, of course they got heat. They're making a ton of money. Kids were making stuff in other countries. Sam Walton was a respected man. People really adored him.
Mm-hmm.
When he ran the company, you got greeted when you walked through that door. He had meetings every Saturday at 10 a.m. So
yeah,
when I was inspired, yeah, go ahead.
I would say he used to walk around, within the store and ask customers personally, like, what can we do to do a better job? What do you like? What don't you like? How can I better serve you? And this is the guy who owns the spot. And it was big at that point.
Yes. So take that, for example, his belief system. Okay, right? I call it the thought word matrix. Your words, because Sam was who he was, right? It's the genetics and environment. He had belief systems, he had actions, he had habits that he created. Okay, great. You have he has his employee though. How does he get them to greet people? Words become what? Thoughts. Thoughts multiply. Multiplied thoughts become actions. Actions garner results. Based on the results, positive or negative, we either stop what we're doing, because motivation's like fire. You got to fuel results or it dies and withers away. Or we continue. And if we continue, it forms a habit. And habits become beliefs. Beliefs become convictions. And convictions create. And like Andrew Carnegie said, what the mind can believe and conceive, the mind will achieve. So if every business is not to make a profit, that comes after. I've never eaten something that didn't make me full and taste good and then, wanted my money back. A business is someone's vision to a solution of a problem. So if a business is the vision to a solution of a problem, the question is, why is everybody trying to find the right people to work for them when they really got to create them?
Mm-hmm.
That's like me saying, I'd rather adopt someone that's been through hell that's 10 years old versus having my own kid. What do you think is easier?
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
It's easier to create. It's easier to nurture and
yes.
to keep.
It's only easier to create when you have the culture in context and the systems to back it up, because you're building a metaphorical ecosystem. That's what a culture is. If everybody wants a definition of culture, because no one seems to, I've read all the damn books I could possibly read on this subject, and no one seems to talk about it. It drives me crazy. Culture is a metaphorical ecosystem that is created when an influencer shares a belief. It doesn't need to be the boss. Usually, great people leave companies, great people, because they outgrow the leader. Because they start realizing they're influencing people because the leader hasn't done a good job of delineating their character. Sam Walton did. He wrote in his book, on his deathbed, that when someone walks in the door, you greet them. That was one of his core philosophies. That was something he lived by. Kip Tyndall wrote down his 7 founding principles. Daniel Lubetzky of the Kind Company in 1988 said, there's 2 kinds of bars, healthy that taste bad or tasty that aren't healthy. So my first cultural tenet is think with and, healthy and tasty. And he says in his book, which was another book that inspired me on this subject, he says it right there. It's kind. Buy it. It's called Kind. He says, we survived in 2006 because we stood true to our 10 tenets. And that's why 10 years later, we had 1 billion bars sold and 450 employees. We survived 2004 to 2014. So the point is, if you're on this call now how about this? If you're a human on your call, and you're on the call, and you want to have a family someday, you got to say to yourself, what's my personal vision statement? What's my personal mission and how I'm going to get there? Meaning, if I wanted 17 kids, I would say, I have a vision of a compound with 17 children, 8 boys and 7. Right? Like, that would be my vision and my mission. How am I going to get there? I'm going to go on enough dates to find a woman crazy enough to have that many kids. That's the mission. And the culture is my character if I want to lead them to be like me. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And the whole world seems to think that words aren't important, but I'm going to give everybody a little test here, or ask a quick pop question. You can write in the comments. You tell me if you want to try this test for 30 days, all right? Go look in the mirror tomorrow morning and tell yourself, 100 times that you're ugly. Who wants to try that test? You want to try that test, Eddie? Your test is for 30 days to go in the mirror and say, I'm ugly, I'm ugly, I'm ugly.
Yeah, I think you're going to come out the other side of that one feeling like shit.
And yet okay, exactly. And yet we all seem to agree that culturally that would be a bad thing. And yet we don't seem to think that words are so powerful in our business.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're going to get the leadership, we got to do a vision, mission, and understand how to implement the culture. But the leadership don't matter. It's not scalable. Culture, positive. So some takeaways. Studying emotional intelligence, I realized one common denominator among successful companies that have been able to produce a lot more and invest a lot less, like the Container Store. And so they call them conscious capitalistic companies. They have emotionally intelligent context. So, for example, the golden rule, a lot of them share that. Mm-hmm. Like when people walk through the doors, they say greet them, always greet them. The golden rule, like customer service type things.
Yeah. Training,
growth-minded. The Container Store, the average employee the first year does about 250 hours of training. After that, 160 hours forever. The average company in the world, Fortune 500, does only 7 hours of training. I'm sure you guys do a ton of training.
Oh, yeah.
Because repetition is the mother of skill, right?
Training's the single greatest thing that you can do, to nurture and grow your people. Aside from culture, you can have a good culture if people don't know what they're doing, and that's not going to be a recipe of things that are going to be accomplished. They all have
bricks and mortar. It's bricks and mortar. Yeah.
Yeah.
By themselves, they're useless. I mean, think about this. Without our mind, how would our body work?
Yep.
Okay. With just our body, or with just our mind and no body, how's that going to work out?
Yeah, doesn't work.
Because life is two things: matter and energy. Most businesses are trying to solve the energy problem with the matter problem. They're trying to solve the culture problem by paying you, Eddie, more money.
Mm-hmm.
We know Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If we don't, that money comes after. Money's like, or sorry, happiness and purpose is way higher.
Yeah.
So this all ties back to civilization, because the one thing that's been able to change the world quantifiably is what? Capitalism and this phone here, because it brings us together. So that's my 10x rant on culture, and I could go here for another 18 hours, but I mean, it may have some questions. Someone may have a question that I could, takeaways are the most important things with this stuff.
Yeah, let's go to the audience here, and because you're dropping fire. I mean, the things that you're talking about, you can tell.
This is all water under here right now. I'm sweating. This is all water.
And you ain't even got the velvet on, and you're sweating.
No, I'm just like dying right now.
But what you're talking about is what people need to hear, and that's why your message that you're going to be, presenting through your book and through your business, it's going to meet resistance because it goes against what these companies are all used to. But it's going to grow, and it's going to impact, and the results are going to be what the results are going to be, which is huge growth. Not only as the individual people within the system, but the companies themselves. So the proof will be in the pudding. Your business is going to go boom, but it will meet resistance because it goes up against everything that we're taught that we deal with. I've worked for corporate, dude. I worked for a large corporate oil and gas company, and their idea of culture was, take money from you, make things more efficient, let people go, create more systems, have no loyalty, have no friendships, no family, no core beliefs, no values, no mission. The mission was do it faster for more money for the customer, less money for the company, or more money for the company, less money for the employees. So I've been there. I've been in those situations. So let's see if I can read these comments. They're a little far from me. Okay, so Corey says, all right, dude, how could we infect culture as an employee?
Oh, perfect.
I want to own my own business one day.
So, for example, whatever your job is, think of your job as just a reflection of what the ultimate business is. If a business is a solution to a problem, Your job has tasks that you would need to do every day to solve it. Correct? Or else you're a liability to your boss. That's how you become an asset. So all you got to do is reverse engineer whatever your task is into what beliefs and what actions do you need to take every day. And if you, for example, let's say that you're in sales. It would be easier if I knew what he did, but it's okay. I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm in sales. I'm you.
Use me as an
okay,
example.
Perfect. Every day you need to make outgoing calls, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the name of the company is Lightspeed, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, for example, LIGHT. Let's just say that the T stood for touch. I make enough contacts a day to touch the one person we're going to be able to solve their problem in the context of Lightspeed. Remember, there's 7 million words in the English language. It doesn't matter what words we use to put our beliefs into context. All that matters is the outcome. But if every day you said to yourself, and you said to the guys around you, hey guys, it's Lightspeed. The T stands for touch. How many people have we touched today? I'm making all this up right now, obviously.
Yeah.
That's the point. There's 7 million words in the English language. It's got to be in the context of whatever you do. So if you're an employee and you want to get a certain result, you've got to be able to reverse engineer the actions you take into words, because words become thoughts. Thoughts multiply. Thoughts that multiply cause actions. Actions get results. When they're positive, they become habits. Habits become beliefs. Beliefs become convictions. And convictions create. And it never took more than one person to change the world or a business. It's always one person saying, I have a dream that little black children and white children will play in the playground. It's only one Alexander the Great to raise an army that never lost a battle. It's only one Napoleon to bring France together. And it's only one employee to inspire those around them to take massive action. So you'll have two, if you do this in your business, you'll have two results. One, you will be promoted to the nth degree. Or two, the company, well, if they don't recognize, it's like respect recognizes respect, then you'll be out and you'll be ready to start your business, because if a business is someone's vision to a solution of a problem, and you figured it out, you're able to develop that culture and those systems.
Absolutely. So by taking, control of that situation and reverse engineering what it is that you're supposed to be doing, what the vision is, and going out there and getting it, you're either going to advance or you're going to differentiate yourself from everything else and realize that you need to be going on and doing your own thing. Either way, it's a positive outcome.
Exactly. And for example, when I worked with my mentor, when we did that business, he was a guy, when you sit down with him, you could feel his vision. Mm-hmm. He delineated that mission into tangible, like you could see it in your mind. And when someone does that properly, we call them a salesperson. I call them a visionary, a leader, an influencer. And that was what drove me to want to follow that person. And they were able to take their energy, their beliefs, and alter my beliefs. So then on a material world, I would actually literally follow them. I would leave everything that I had going on and follow them, and I believed in them. But the belief came before my actions. And great companies start out like that. What happens is the more that they grow their systems, the more they lose touch with their people, and the owner becomes less and less the person that they were. And it's a vicious cycle. And this is not something anyone would argue, because you show me a business that has been around as long as any form of religion. None.
Mm-hmm.
None. And at the end of the day, this is not a conversation to prove right or wrong. It's a conversation to prove a fact that at the end of the day, we need faith in something to believe in. And if every major religion has been around for thousands of years, and it takes faith to believe in something, have a belief, create a culture and actions of going to church every Sunday, well, then why doesn't every business have their vision, their mission, and their culture tangible, so every leader can inspire people to aspire to take the action they must to get the results that they want in their business. And all it is you said it earlier, the system is broken, sir. It's not broken out of conspiracy. It's broken out of very simple. When the agricultural age happened and the industrial age came, there were waves. There's ripples. The industrial age ended in 1989 officially. Mm-hmm. When the Berlin Wall came down, the internet became real in 1988 technically. We had computers in the 60s, but when the industrial age was going on, it worked because we were able to treat people like things. Stephen Covey's new book, The Eighth Habit, talks about this. In the information age, we have what? Communication. We have a global economy. We have inflation that's only less than 1% of the 1% of the world even knows what that means. That means the more money that we create, the less it's worth. So inevitably, the middle class will get squeezed, and the average person will have, on average, 30 jobs or 17 jobs up to the age of 30. Therefore, what? Less money. We need more purpose. Purpose is why a bunch of guys signed the Declaration of Independence. And then they figured it out after.
Yeah.
So in the information age, culture matters.
Absolutely.
So,
well,
any other questions? I mean, I don't know how much time we got left, but.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I can't see how much time we've been on here. I don't like to take these things over an hour. If somebody could tell me how long this video has been going on for, we'll answer one more question, but I think we're getting close. Apologize my thumb over here, but there's no way to reach it. Okay.
I think it's been 3 days. No.
Dude, we could do it for 3
But
days.
I'm in a vortex right now.
We could totally do it for 3 days. Let me go up here and see if we got
56 minutes.
How many? 56?
We have 240 seconds.
We're good. We're going to get one more question in. And
Anyone got a question?
Drop it. Okay, so this is hard for me to look through there, so go ahead and give us a question. Give Jay a question. Don't give me a question. This is about culture, and this is the expert on culture with the mission and with the passion to let you guys understand about what culture is and why it's so important. So the next question that pops up on my screen is the one that's going to be asked because I can't scroll through. So while we're doing that, though, the book. So the book's coming soon. Yeah.
I will say this. It's the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life because especially someone that I feed off other people's energy, right? Extroverted. It's hard to sit down there every day and make that happen. I've even gone and hired someone to assist me to do it. But because I'm willing to put the effort in, no matter what, I got to get it done. It's about halfway done right now. So I'm looking before the new year, that book is going to be out. Whether it's not going to be perfect. That's the one thing I learned writing a book. It will never be perfect. But this conversation, this is like the meat right here. If even I just can get this out with the right story, I might be able to help some people, right? I can always write more than one book. But yes, the book Culture Matters will be out in the next couple months. So if you can always message me on Facebook and ask me questions if you're waiting for that.
You're going to help a lot of people, because, I mean, okay, so not without going down this rabbit hole, but, the average CEO reads 62 books a year or something, and the average person reads less than one. But people are all over Facebook. They're all over social media. They're consuming content. They're on videos. They're learning. Your impact that you can have on your message and what you're trying to put out there can be conveyed in a gigantic scalable form by using these platforms here. So here is Kyle's question. Okay, Kyle Hendricks. He says, how can you make a mission and values tangible in a business?
Perfect. So whatever the actionable result that you want from your people, you reverse engineer that into context. For example, collaboration to me in my company, the C stands for collaboration. If you look that up on Google, there's a negative definition, which is like to rat somebody out. And there's a positive definition, which is to do what we're doing now, a mastermind. Mm-hmm. But to me, it means give first, expect nothing. So my coaches know that the first meeting they have with people is tied into what? The script, which is what? The questions that they need to ask to get information. There's no deal happening the first time they meet with somebody. That's the system. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. If I want to get my people to listen, to understand, not to reply, to ask the questions, to know why it's important to become the script, collaboration means give first, expect nothing. Meaning I'm giving them my attention, I'm listening to understand, and now I'm going to decide if I can solve their problem. So what you got to do first is you got to figure out what you're looking to solve. Okay? An easy way to do this, take the title of your company, like Lightspeed, and you would break light speed into words and then statements behind. For example, the L in Lightspeed could be leadership. If Brad would agree that everything rose and fell on leadership and that each employee must lead themselves to get up, get on the phone, and make the calls to help people every day, that would be the context. So in Lightspeed, L would stand for lead. We lead our lives by leading others every day in every way. I just made that up right now. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, because there's a million freaking words. Yeah. So when I work with a CEO like Brad, for example, my goal is not to tell him what his culture should be. I need to ask him questions because in Latin, education means the answer lies within. I need to ask him, hey, man, what are the top 6 actions you took to become who you were? And now we're going to figure out how to make that simple. So that way it's easy to remember. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So for example, like the Lightspeed is an awesome company. So like light could be a metaphor for something. We're the shining light of the future in business online. Made that up again too. But light could stand for leadership, integrity, grand. You said on the phone when you called me, there's no company like us.
Yeah.
You said that, Eddie.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could say we're grand. We're number 1 in the marketplace because we're grand. If everybody said that every day, how do you think they would? What do you think their confidence would be like?
Oh yeah.
Because if everyone in this call thinks that if you look in the mirror every day and you say you're ugly, then you'll feel like you're ugly. Well, what if everyone in your company at Lightspeed said we're grand, we're the best, and start beating their chest?
Well, they do.
That's why you're the best. So my goal in life is to help every company do that so everybody wins. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So I hope that put into context. Take the title of your company, figure out what actions you want your people to do, take the title, put into words, put the words into context, because if it's not in the context, there's no alignment, and you need alignment. If you want to create a culture where people rise up and act like you, which isn't that what everybody wants when they start a business?
Oh, yeah. Duplicate yourself.
So in the book, I'm going to use examples of families. Vanderbilts with Rothschilds. The Vanderbilts are broke. The Rothschilds own the world. Great people. The culture of Helen Keller, who said she was lucky that she didn't have any hearing or any eyesight. She said, I see the truth because the eyes tell lies. That's what she says in her book, Optimism. She had her own culture. Conrad Hilton, who didn't fall in love until he was 88. He had his own culture, right? Great companies like the Walmarts that were and that aren't, or the kind companies that are, the container stores that are, the Whole Foods that are, and countries. Mm-hmm. Countries. Israel is alive because of culture. We know this.
Yeah.
Our country just went through the worst political debacle ever because culture. We're in the best economy we've been in many years, but no one really cares about that, do they? Because if economies mattered, we would have never went to America to create it. We would have stayed in London or England, whatever, with the Queen.
Yeah.
They had the money.
Yeah.
So culture matters. If you don't believe that after this, I got to jump off the top of this roof for the parachute. Like, let's go.
Yeah, dude, no parachute.
I'm sorry, man. I tend to go on. If I'm talking too much, tell me to stop.
No, you're good, dude. If people aren't buying in, if they're not understanding and they're not seeing, what your message is, why your message is so important and how it makes sense, I mean, I don't know how you couldn't.
I'll leave everybody with this. Just think about this. Imagine we lived in a world where 7.3 billion people said, you know what? You might be black, I might be white, you might be tan, I might be this, you might be short, I might be tall, but you're a human. And human means happy, because we could be freaking trees. We're unique. We're one of a kind. Mankind comes before skin color. You understand? Imagine everyone on the planet believed that there was one culture just a little bit more important than theirs, than their hometown. And that culture was human. That's what my goal is. Yeah. Business is just a way to make that happen, because business tends to make the world move. Because we know People don't care where we come from if you're paying them. So conscious capitalism and this phone is how I'm going to change the world. And that's it.
Well, and you're doing it, man. You're doing it. The world needs folks like you, and you're doing everything that you can within your power and then some to make that happen and to get your message out there. So real quick, let's tie this in. We're well over our hour, so I want to let everybody get back to their stuff. I know we could go on forever, but where can everybody find you? I know you're pushing YouTube hard right now.
Yeah.
So let's get them plugged in with you.
Perfect.
Where can they find you?
So I just got a new landing page. It'll be up next week, jayduranculture.com. But for now, type in my name, Jay Duran, Jaydoran on YouTube, and I film over 100 videos a month. Every day there's new videos. You're going to get this whole 1 hour every day, in like short blocks of 3 to 4 minutes. You can find me on Facebook, same name, Jaydoran, and send me a personal message that you're on this, and I will unfriend some hot chick, and I will add you. So, because I'm at my limit, but I'm sure I could find some bikini chicks to unfriend so I can add you. So just send me a message on there. So YouTube and Facebook.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, hey, go follow the guy. Stay close to what he's doing. I put you on my see first on my Facebook because I want to see what you got going on. You were buried in my algorithm. I wasn't seeing your stuff. So I got you back to the top of the list.
Sweet.
So I can see what you got going on, dude, because you're an inspiring dude. You're doing good things. You have the right intentions. I love your message. I completely agree with what you're doing. I agree with your message. And I look forward to developing our relationship more and plugging more people into what you're doing so they can get the same kind of value that I'm getting out of you. So
I appreciate that.
I appreciate you coming on here, dude. And hit me up. Look forward to connecting further. And I will tell you guys, Asta, go follow this man. And I appreciate all you guys hanging out. Thanks for the shares. Thanks for all your support. And be sure to watch Home of the Hustle tomorrow night with Frank Sell, Thursday night with The Law, Friday night with Justin Myers, and Savage Saturdays with Savage Grind on Saturday. So appreciate you guys. Have a fantastic night. Jay, thanks again, brother. Take it easy.
See you guys.
Peace.